Hello, welcome to today's lecture on conflict management, and it can be found in your Module 2, Section B, from page number 65 to 69. My name is Spam McBequeen, a lecturer of Flexence Health College. Now, for today's section, we are going to look at 5 main subtopics. We'll first look at the definition of conflict. We will also find out what are the causes of conflict, classification of conflict, the wrong approach to managing workplace conflicts, and the last will be managing conflict rightly. Now, conflict refers to any situation in which there are incompatible goals, cognitions, or emotions within or between individuals or groups that lead to opposition or antagonistic interaction. And basically, all that this definition is saying that when we say we have conflict, it is whereby an outcome goes, okay, what I want and what you want, we are disagreeing on those fundamentals. And let me say, conflict is very natural. As humans as we are, we can't always agree on the same issues. So where there are goals that are set, there could be conflict about the outcomes, where we are going, okay, where there are cognitions. And cognitions, we are talking about ideas and thoughts, the way I think and the way we think, the way I want things to be done and the way you feel things to be done. It's always not going to be different. When we talk about emotions, okay, the way I feel and the way you feel may not also be compatible. Okay, some people may feel angered and one is not angry. So he thinks that it's taking serious because he's angry. All right. So basically, based on this definition I've given, we can say that we we can recognize three basic types of conflict based on this definition. That's the goal conflict, and the goal conflict basically is whereby we think that the situation in which the desired end states or the preferred outcomes appear to be incompatible. Okay, so I want to make a sales of 2,000 Ghana cedis in my pharmacy. Okay, my MCs that I work with think that it's impossible, Mr. Abequim. We can't make a sales of 2,000. We think that we can make a sales of 1,000. Okay, now once I'm insisting on 2,000, they are saying 1,000. There has been a goal conflict. Okay, where the two of us are not agreeing because my desired end state to get a sales of 2,000 and the preferred one that the MCs two are talking about is incompatible. And if you don't handle this well, it can lead to a lot of things. Okay, then we talk about the cognitive one where ideas and thoughts are inconsistent. Okay, what I think that should be done, how prescription should be filed, okay, how the shop should be organized, and what the MCs or the people I'm working with thinks will also be different. And affective has to do with our emotions. My emotions may be different from their emotions. So anytime these things are not compatible, what I feel, what I think, and what I want to achieve is not the same as what somebody is also expecting. We see that there has been conflict. All right. Now, conflict is very common in organizational settings. Very, very, very common. And when you start to work in a pharmacy, you see a lot. Not only in a pharmacy, any company you want to work in, you see there are a lot of conflicts. So this is not necessarily a negative feature. Okay, we cannot all decide to think the same. It's not possible as humans as we are. All right. So where there is conflict, we don't normally say it is negative, but the resolution of the conflict often leads to constructive problem solving. All right. So how the conflict is handled normally will tell us whether it will be constructive, that is productive, or is going to be negative. The conflict might escalate to non-productive results where, for example, people are fighting and insulting each other and backbiting. Somebody is taking somebody to the malam and the juju, and that is negative and unproductive. In fact, any company with that type of behavior, that company will never succeed. Or it can be positive resolved and lead to quality final products or services. Now, those disagreements, as I've said, I want to sell 2,000 Ghana cedis. My MC says, Mr. Queen, we can't do 2,000. I'll ask, okay, why can't we do 2,000? Or why are you saying we should do 1,000? Now, at the end of the day, they may even agree with me, or I may even agree with them. All right, so it can increase the quality of the service we provide at the pharmacy. All right, so conflict is as I said, is inevitable. No matter what we do, somebody will disagree with you, and you also disagree with someone. All right, but that doesn't mean we should fight. There should be a reasonable way for us to solve it. Conflicts can also occur because of tax. Okay, because of work that I've given. For example, MCs are supposed to clean the pharmacy, are supposed to keep the pharmacy tidy, are supposed to serve prescriptions under the supervision. If I'm a pharmacist, or if you're going to work in a pharmacy where there is a pharmacist, and you decide to do the work of the pharmacist, okay, that is going to bring conflict because that is not your work. It can also happen because of relationship. Okay, the way I am with some MCs, some other people may jealous it, and it can lead to conflict. The relationship between me and the patient can lead to conflict because the patient husband or spouse will not be happy. The relationship between me and some students will not be can also lead to conflict or process related issues. Process related issues has to do with the procedure we use to do a particular thing. For example, if somebody comes with a prescription in the pharmacy, the first thing we have to do is to check whether the prescription is correct. After checking that it is correct, you give it to the pharmacist. All right. But where you decide that when you receive a prescription, not you don't even check, you don't even ask the patient any question, you bring it straight to the pharmacist because you have changed the process that we use to sell prescription. These issues can also lead to conflict. So conflict, as I said, is a natural disagreement within an individual, between two individuals and an individual and an organization or between two organizations. All right. So the key thing here is that know that conflict is natural. When somebody disagrees with you, doesn't mean the person hates you or doesn't like you. We all are going to express our thoughts the way we feel. All right. And if what I feel is not the same thing that you also feel, that we should not say that we are going to fight. For example, in the pharmacy, you can have a patient that will walk into your pharmacy may have affective conflict where sees you as a lady and expresses love to you. If you don't feel the same way, you don't insult him. Just let him know, no, I'm not interested, and that should settle it. All right. We can classify conflicts into we can divide conflict into four main types. And please note, this is not contradicting what I said earlier, where I talked about the three types of conflict, where we discussed about the goal conflict, the cognitive conflict, and affective conflict. All right, that's three types was based on the definition I gave. Conflict can also be subdivided again to four other types. Conflict over facts or data. Okay, somebody says A, somebody says B, and different facts or data is being quoted. Okay, conflict over process or method. Okay, the process or the method we are using to prepare something. Somebody says that if you want to prepare a particular food, as an example, okay, just as an example, you want to prepare a particular food like jollof. The way you prepare the jollof should be in a particular way. So now there's a competition between Ghana and Nigerian jollof, and the main difference between the jollof is the process they are using to prepare it. All right. So conflict over process and method is there. Everybody will have a different method of doing something. There could be conflict over purpose. Okay, the purpose for my pharmacy, we may disagree because we think that that shouldn't be the purpose, and conflict over values. All right, so conflict can be divided into four main types: conflict over facts and data, and that is easy to solve because once you're able to authenticate the data or the facts, you resolve it. Conflict over process and method, and this one too is easy. The pharmacy has gotten something we call a standard operating procedure. If your pharmacy have gotten a standard operating procedure where we have all agreed that's what we are going to work with, it's able to avoid this type of conflict. Conflict over purpose. And here, every institution or organization should have a mission statement, okay? And this mission statement should guide all of us as to the direction the company or our pharmacy is going. Conflict over values, for example, as I've said, I'm a Christian. All right, so I have some values I hold dear to me. So when it comes to work with me in my pharmacy, and for example, you decide to go contrary to the values we hold. I say no abortion, you say you do abortion. I don't want staff to date among themselves. You want to do that. That's what I value. Okay, then there will be conflicts and possibly may not be able to work together. Now, when it comes to classification of conflict, what we say is that based on the definition we gave earlier on to we can classify okay conflict into three main types. Okay, so types of conflict is different from classification of conflict. Okay, classification of conflict means that we are grouping them. Okay, so the first one is an individual conflict. An individual conflict. And normally, when you say an individual conflict, this occurs within an individual. Okay, so this is a conflict that is happening within a person, often involves some form of goal conflict or cognitive conflict. Okay, so we've talked about the goal conflicts already, where the behavior will result in outcomes that are mutually exclusive or have compatible elements. Simple example: let's say that you have um, a person decides that they want to do pharmacy, so they apply to the school of pharmacy. At the same time, they are not sure that, okay, what if I don't get pharmacy? Okay, then let me apply to nursing. All right. Now you have two applications to two different universities. And let's say University of Ghana have given you the bachelor in nursing, KNUST have given you also an admission to come and read pharmacy. Now, once you have to make a decision between the two, okay, then there's going to be an individual conflict. Okay. So an individual can have conflicts. Sometimes it could be your relationship. You are supposed to choose between two guys, and your mind will say A, another one say no, take B. That it could lead to conflict. It could be about your future, it could be about your importance, it could be about what you are expecting. So normally individual conflicts have nothing to do with the organization you're working for. It is your personal conflict you have. However, your personal conflict can affect your work performance. All right, so it's important that even though you may have your own individual conflict, it is important that we able to resolve it so that it doesn't affect your performance at work. For example, now assuming that you are married and your husband is saying that he wants to relocate to Kumasi, your kids are also in Accra, you work in Accra. So that's a big decision. Taking your kids along with you to Kumasi, they are going to change their schools, you are going to lose your work and all those things. And also allowing only your husband to go to Kumasi to go and live alone, nobody's going to cook for him and take care of him. It's a big decision, and that is what I call an individual conflict. So even though you are working in my pharmacy, you may have such a conflict. Directly, it's not a problem that has been created by the pharmacy, it's your individual problem. However, when it comes to work, you have divided attention. And in our line of work, working in a pharmacy, this can be very dangerous because when you're absent minded, it can lead to you dispensing the wrong medicine to a patient that can cause serious damage to their health. All right. So individual conflict could be your personal issue, your relationship, your financial issues, your schooling issues. However, if this thing is causing a lot of problems and is causing a lot of issues, it is important that you address it immediately. If not, it's going to affect the work that you are doing. All right. Now, when it comes to the second type of conflict, that is called organizational conflict. And an organizational conflict is normally arises because the company that you are going to work with can create a lot of conflict. Okay, so this organizational conflict have served to be divided into four. Okay, so these are conflict that will happen once you decide to work in a particular place, like my pharmacy or a hospital. Okay, the first one is an intra-individual organizational conflict. An intra-individual organizational conflict. And when talk about an intra means within. Okay, within. So this conflict can be intrapersonal, where an individual's objective and vision differs from his or her company's overall vision. All right. So this is totally different from an individual conflict. Individual conflict is your own issues. It has nothing to do with the pharmacy or hospital or whichever company you're working for. However, for the intra-individual conflict, okay, your vision, your goals, and that of the organization are totally different. Let me give a very typical example. Okay, forgive me if I use any other thing. It's just for us to understand our lecture better. Now, assuming somebody is an Adventist, okay, an Adventist normally will, if you I have one that I work with, by on Friday by 6 o'clock they close because of the Sabbath. They don't work on a Saturday. Okay, so they close on Friday 6 o'clock. They don't work on a Saturday. My company too will want to sell after 6, and I work on a Saturday. I'm not an Adventist, so I work on a Saturday. Now this one can cause what we call the intra-individual organizational conflict because the person that I'm working with, her goals, her religious beliefs, and what I do in a company is at variance. It's not the same, and this can create a lot of problem for me because the person may want to close the shop at 6 because he or she may be the only person at the shop, and I say no, you cannot close my pharmacy at 6 because people are buying to 10, so don't close it. All right. So here you can see that the person's vision and goals, okay, are different from that of the company. In fact, the other companies too that will ask you to come on, let's say a night shift. So you come to work at 2 p.m. and you're going to close at 10 p.m. Now, if you are married and you have kids, it's going to be difficult because it means that nobody's going to pick your kids from school. You are supposed to cook for your husbands and stuff like that. And what you expect the company to do for you, the company should allow you to only come to morning shifts so that you don't come for the afternoon shift. But it's going to be difficult because some of the times the company will not agree with that policy because it's going to be difficult for them. Okay. So an intra-individual organizational conflict happens where the persons or the MCA's own wishes and vision, okay, what they want, it's not the same thing as the company wants. And that disagreement, okay, will cause what we call the intra-individual organizational conflict. Then we have an inter-individual. Inter-individual means between two individuals, okay. Conflicts happening between two individuals, normally two staff that are working in the same pharmacy, okay. So the most basic type of conflict is this interpersonal, and it's between two colleagues arising from a host of reasons ranging from differences in personality. Okay, the way she doesn't like to talk much at the shop. Okay, you two like to talk. So if there's only the two of you, you want to chat and she's not chatting. This can lead to conflict. Your work style, okay, the way she receives customers. Some people, when any man enters, oh hello, sweetheart, welcome to Flexen's pharmacy. And you think that what type of behavior is that? Is it's not supposed to be done. You should have said hello, say, don't say hello, sweetheart. So that's the work style. Okay, so your work style can bring conflict, and your personal background, maybe the school she attended, her religious background, maybe she's a Muslim, you are a Christian. Okay, these things can cause what's called the inter-individual organizational conflict, and especially where we depend on each other. Okay, for example, what you have to do and what I have to do, we depend on each other. So where one person fails, the other person may be affected. Okay. So that's what we call the inter. So inter-individual organizational conflict that's happening between two people at the pharmacy because they don't share the same thing, the way they do their things are different. Okay, sometimes the pharmacy has gotten a duty roster where we are supposed to clean. One is supposed to clean, one is supposed to mop. Okay, one has cleaned, one has not mopped, and that can lead to an inter-individual organizational conflict between two colleagues. Okay, so the intra has to do with conflict between the person and the company's policies. The inter has to be the conflict between two colleagues, two workers, because of the company they work with. The way they are supposed to do things are different. Then we have the third class, which is the intra. Intra group means that if the pharmacy have gotten a group or a team, let's say the MCAs and pharmacists, MCAs will form a different team at a lower level, the pharmacists will form a different team at a higher level. There are sometimes that the MCAs within them are fighting among themselves. Okay, somebody wants to be supervisor, somebody says that no, me, I want to do ABC. So you can see that MCAs are not on talking terms with each other. All right, so that's in that case, there has been an intra group organizational conflict. Even on this school platform, we can decide to form groups where we give you group assignments. Sometimes the groups that we have formed within the group itself, we can have some disagreements between the groups, and that's what we call the intra group. The inter group is a disagreement between two groups. Okay, so one group against another group. Okay, so let's say have group A and group B, and group A is having an issue with group B because group B maybe the type of dress they wanted to use to come and show to during their presentations at school. Group B had it and they have dressed the same way. So group A is saying that why did you copy our dress? So that is an intergroup conflict. Okay, conflict between the MC and the pharmacist. Conflict that is happening within MCs in a pharmacy will be classified as intra-group. A conflict that's happening between a pharmacist and an MCA will be classified as an intergroup organizational conflict. The last one, number three, is what we call the inter-organizational conflict. And this is conflict that normally happens between two companies, okay, between companies. As example, my community pharmacy, Flexen's pharmacy, we buy from another company like NS Chemist. Now, where I have bought things and I'm supposed to pay NS Chemist and I'm not paying, there's going to be conflict because NS Chemist needs their money and I also need medicine. So they can say, if you don't pay me, I'm not giving you drugs. I say, no, give me the drugs, I'll pay you. And that can lead to conflict. So it can be conflict between my company, Flexen's pharmacy, and NS Chemist. It will be conflict between my company and Zoom Lion, my company and Electricity Corporation of Ghana, my company and what Ghana Water because they are not supplying me water. So anytime conflict is happening between two organizations, we call it an inter-organizational conflict. All right. So when you are going to work in a pharmacy, as we said, you are going to be met with these three categories of conflicts: the individual conflict, organizational conflict, and inter-organizational conflicts. Now, what are some of the causes of conflict? First is poor communication, and we discussed communication already. Now, once you cannot communicate your thoughts, what you said, the other person may not have understood it, and that can lead to a lot of conflict in the pharmacy. All right, so poor communication. Okay, sometimes you are supposed to say something and you become quiet. You are supposed to pass on an information, you don't pass on an information. You are saying something, the other person did not really understand what you said, and they also decide not to ask you a question. Okay, this can cause a lot of conflict in the pharmacy. Fear. Okay, when there's fear, normally it also leads to a lot of conflict and disagreement because everybody wants to be careful, and in doing that, it creates a lot of conflict. Difference in values. Okay, for example, the way we dress. Some ladies will wear a tall dress that will cover go below their knees. Some will wear dress above their knees, and they want to be young and pretty. Some want to wear jeans and t-shirts. Some people no, we should not wear jeans and t-shirts. Okay, so what I value and what you value can also cause conflict. Disagreement in content matter. Okay, content matter is where something has been said, but the understanding wasn't clear. So it's like who said what? Did he really say? Did Mr. Bekun really say this? All right. Then you see that's what we are saying. Normally is that in Akan they say artisan. Okay, and somebody have heard something, you are transferring it. You heard it something from me. You are telling the third person. The way the third person you tell the third person will be different from what I told you, and the third person will tell a fourth person. So that can lead to a lot of disagreement. Also, disagreement over policies, plans, and priorities. Okay, disagreements in goals, needs, and expectations. Personality clashes. Somebody's an introvert, somebody's an extrovert. Okay, somebody's loud and want to talk and laugh and crack jokes. Somebody too is quiet and doesn't want to crack jokes. Okay, then also competition for limited resources. And this one is interesting. In the pharmacy, sometimes MCs are fighting over a pen, a calculator because the calculator is only one and everybody wants to use. And sometimes even a chair. The pharmacy may have only one chair and everybody want to sit on it. Okay, or they want to sit beneath the fan. Okay, because the pharmacy may be warm and one is sitting there, she doesn't want to change, and that is competition for limited resources. Now, the next one that we'll talk about is conflict management. How do we manage conflict? I've talked about a lot of things, but how do we manage conflict? Okay, how do we manage it? Conflict management is the practice of being able to identify and handle conflict sensibly, fairly, and efficiently. This is very important. We are able to identify and handle the conflict sensibly, fairly, and efficiently. Okay, so basically, we say that conflict management is a fair and sensible way of managing conflict so that it can bring a lot of productivity to the pharmacy. Now, this is very important for us to think this way, and I hope all of you will start to think that way. Whenever somebody disagrees with you, take some time off and ask myself, how can I manage this disagreement so that it becomes efficient and productive? How do I become sensible and fair to the person because I'm not in the person's shoe? Why is my mother saying that instead of giving me 10 Ghana cedis to school, she wants to give me 5 Ghana cedis to school? Let me be in my mother's shoe to know what is really going on. And maybe if you are in a shoe and you ask her a lot of questions, you could see that no, she needs the money more than you, that the 5 cedis is being still big. But when we don't and want to understand the third person, the second person, normally conflict becomes very difficult to handle. All right. So there are negative and positive approach to managing conflict. Some of us, when we disagree with people, the way we handle it could be very negative and it will destroy relationship. Okay, and decrease productivity. But some you can handle in a positive way that it will rather increase productivity and let allow people to know themselves better. Okay, some of these wrong approaches is one, a firecracker. A firecracker is somebody that normally will say that maka. Okay, once they are annoyed, they will fight. All right. So if you look at the people in the boat, one wants to go right, one wants to go left, and they're all paddling, and the boat will still be at one place. So anybody who is a firecracker, okay, as I've said, they blew up in anger and later apologized profusely. Okay, that is the devil. Sorry, I was annoyed because what you did, it wasn't good. Okay, so that's what we call a firecracker. It's like what we call the knockout. Once you light it, it will explode. All right, and that is bad. If any of us is like that, please let's change. We can't have that attitude in the pharmacy where a customer comes inside and you disagree with the customer and you burst out and you are shouting in the pharmacy. You tell them, me, I'm not like that. If you do this, I'll do that. Then later on, you come back to come and apologize. Okay, you hold the customer's dress as if you want to fight with them. That is bad approach to managing disagreement. Okay, another one is called the cold shoulder or ignoring the conflict. Okay, the cold shoulder. And cold shoulder here, two people will try not to communicate, and it's very common. Okay, where two MCs are not talking, they are not on talking terms because something has happened and they are disagreeing. And not only that, hoping to see that the other person the other person will approach them first. So the person is not talking with Mr. Awakin. Mr. Awakin too is not talking with the person. Mr. Awakin is thinking that, oh, I think Mami Ajua will come and apologize to me. When she comes, I'll forgive her. Mami Ajua too is sitting somewhere and say that I think Mr. Awakin will come and apologize. And when he comes, I'll forgive him. All right. So that's what we call the shoot shoulder. So nobody minds anybody. And deep inside us, we wish the other person will come to us so that we can reconcile. Okay, and that is also very negative. Let's not do that. Let's not be cold. If somebody has done something that is worrying and hurting you, discuss with the person. Another one that is also very, very, very bad is the third one, which you call a backstabbing. Okay, and a backstabbing, the person that is agreeing with when you are around, the person is fine with you, but when you leave, she will express her disagreement, okay, to other people, okay, but when you're around, the person is quiet, okay. So let me use this thing we are doing in the pharmacy. When you go there and I've said something that the MC disagrees with me in my presence, oh, Mr. Bakin, it's okay, oh, I'll do it. Once I leave, you express your disagreement to the other colleague that this thing that this man is asking me to do there, I don't agree. I can't do it. I don't agree. But in my presence, this MC doesn't tell me that she doesn't agree. Okay, so we call them the backstabbing. That's so very negative. Then we have the memory lane. Okay, and the memory lane, one person keeps up bringing past issues up every time there's a conflict. Okay. So anytime there's a conflict, they just say, ah, the last time, that's what you did, and I forgive you. Today you are doing it. The last time, okay, that's why they forever keep that old conflict that you had with them, and anytime that you are discussing any other conflict with them, they'll bring that one back. That is also negative. It's, you tell the other person that really the conflict that you manage or you solve, later in your lecture, you understand you never agree to it. There's another fifth one that we call them the social zinger. Okay, but the social zinger too is quite interesting. But this is somebody that will throw a verbal dart. Okay, when you say a dart, it's like a bow and arrow. Okay, a dart at you in public, and later say that they were just joking. All right, so they look at your hairstyle and say, "Hey, it's you, Yakobo, there. This type of hairstyle, there, boy, boy." Okay, then everybody will laugh at you. But when it goes, oh, madam, please, the way you told and he said it, you embarrassed. Oh, sorry, I was just joking. Okay, or when the pregnant women sometimes come to a pharmacy, some of them say, oh, if you pee banchi the gym, and they are laughing at the pregnant woman. All right, or somebody who enters that is short, say, hey, shorty, today a short man has come, or somebody who is tall, hey, Titola has come. And the customer is annoyed, they say, ah, but why you call us? So say, please, I was just joking. Please, it's negative. It's negative. Let's not be doing those things. All right. Then we have another one called trivial fights. Trivial fight. And as the word talk explains itself, two people keep fighting over tiny decisions and never get to deal with the real issues. Okay. And they are fighting over decisions like a pen. A pen. Who should have hold of the pen? They are fighting over things like sweeping. Alright, so we call them trivial fight. That's also very negative. Whatever that you ask them to do, they'll fight. Okay, in the pharmacy, as we go on to talk about the strategy, please be very, very matured. Then we have people who always want to have the last word, and that could be very negative too. Okay, somebody wanting to have the last word is when the conflict seems to have been resolved. Okay, the two of you have been called that whatever disagreement that was between you, please let it go. After your boss have called the two MCs and have told you all this, as they are walking out of the one MC now comes out with another word that You, if you do it tomorrow, you see what I'll do to you. Okay, once you say that one, you have destroyed the whole conflict procedure. Okay, and the last one is being aggressive. Being aggressive. And some people really will hope to get at you. Okay, they want to fight, they want to insult, they want to do all those things. Okay, so in being aggressive is a wrong approach. You cannot manage conflict by insulting and cursing, and calling people names. Normally, if you do all these things and the conflict is resolved, the person is still hurt. Okay, and you may never have a chance to reconcile with the person again. All right, so please, all that we've said here now on the negative, let's avoid these things. Don't be caught doing this. All right, because it makes the conflict management so difficult. Let's look at how we are going to manage it. Okay, so except in a very few situations where the conflict can lead to competition and creativity, so that in such situations the conflict can be encouraged. Okay, anytime conflict is leading to healthy competition, staffs are competing. Oh, today you sold 1,000, me too, tomorrow I'll sell 2,000. That is good because it helps the company to grow. All right. In all other cases where the conflict is destructive, anytime we see that the conflict is destroying people, is affecting our business, okay, we should resolve it as soon as possible. Tell your boss that, say, please, I have a problem with A. Please, can you help us solve it? Because if we don't, it's going to collapse the pharmacy and you'll be out of work. Okay, so it should be resolved as soon as possible after it has developed as possible. Okay, but all efforts should be made to prevent it from developing. So before we even go to really handling conflict, let's look at what are some of the things we can do to prevent even conflict from happening. It's not always possible, but it's worth that we know that we can do certain things to prevent conflict from even happening. Okay. And the first thing we can do is goal structure. Goals should be clearly defined, and the role and the contribution of each unit towards the organizational goal must be clearly stated. Wherever that you are working, if you go and they don't give you a job description, insist you need a job description and your rules should be made clear to you. You are supposed to clean the pharmacy, you clean the washroom, you clean the shelves, you do ABCD. This lady who to go to the bank will go to Kinds to go and purchase drugs. Once there is a good structure, normally a lot of conflict in the pharmacy will never even happen. Okay, two, there should also be a healthy reward system. The competition system should be such that it does not create individual competition or conflict within them. Okay, so I should not say that the MC that will sell more, I'll pay him more. If you don't sell more, I'll not pay you more. Once you do that, it brings a lot of tension within them and that can create a lot of conflict. Okay, so if you are working in any pharmacy where there's discrimination among rewards and system, be careful. The third one is trust and communication. The greater the trust among members of the unit or at the same work, the more honest and open the communication among them will be. And when we spoke about communication, we talked about how we can build such trust. Okay, attending programs, visiting, calling them. Okay, if you are all close from work and you get home, you call your colleague to say, "Oh, Ajo, have you also got home?" This communication and trust will build. Assuming you all close late, and maybe your house is closer to the pharmacy, and Ajo's house is very far from the pharmacy, and you don't even call her, she may think that you don't even care about her. All right, and that can lead to a lot of conflict. So we communicate a lot. And the last one under how to prevent conflict is the coordination. Okay, so coordination is next to communication because once you properly coordinate your activities, okay, the shop is supposed to let you know that if you coordinate among yourself, it will eliminate a lot of conflicts from happening in the pharmacy, and that's very important for us to know. So basically, these are a few things we can do on preventing conflict. And as I said, conflict is natural, sometimes inevitable, but with these things that we just have talked about, it can really help us in making sure that we can prevent conflict as much as we can. Now let's look at how do we really manage conflict. Now looking at managing conflict, there are five main strategies. Okay, that they call the behavioral strategies that we can use. Okay, and any of these strategies I'm talking about, you can use one or combine two. Okay, but always look at the situation and choose the appropriate strategy. I wouldn't be there with you. It's you and it's your decision to make. There are sometimes that in solving conflict, you should use the strategy called avoidance or ignore the conflict. Okay, so you can use avoidance or ignore the conflict. And avoidance or ignoring conflict is very, very important where the manager's point of view, okay, and where it is happening, is saying that if you continue the conflict, it will provoke further controversy. All right. So let's say that somebody used the washroom and didn't flush, but we don't know whether it's a customer or a staff, and there's have been a disagreement about who used the washroom and didn't flush. Sometimes if you continue to do this thing, people get hurt with the process because they think it's not them, but it's like you are throwing darts and words across the board. Okay, Ubo Makutia. All right, so sometimes it's best that, oh, somebody used the washroom, did not flash. Okay, but I flashed it. Simple. That is called you have ignored the conflict, or you have avoided it. If you visited the washroom and somebody used it and it didn't flash and you flashed it, you came by and said, oh, Charlie, next time if anybody use the washroom, the person should flash it. That is simple. That is what we call avoidance. Okay, you don't confront anyone, you don't want any issues, so you just take a passive role and you avoid it altogether. If you left your book there and came and somebody have picked the book from where you placed it to a different place, you can decide to pick your book and go home. Okay, without worrying yourself about who took my book and placed it here. Okay, and sometimes you start to even insult. Okay, you can pick your book and go home straight. The second one is called smoothing or accommodation. And this one is where you are covering up the conflict by appealing for the need for unity rather than addressing the issue of conflict itself. So in accommodation or smoothing, it's more of cooperation. Okay, if there's conflict between the two of you, sometimes you are not really solving the conflict, but you can decide that, okay, let's let everything go. Okay, and let's work. Okay, so that is what we call the smoothing or accommodation. And here I'll show you a picture after this slide. Okay, I'll show you a picture to explain some particular points to you. All right, so you can sometimes use the accommodation where you know that that is how Mr. Bequin is. Mr. Bequin, anytime he comes to the pharmacy, he doesn't greet me. But honestly, the problem, and that's his problem. So I'll just accommodate him and work with him. All right. So that is another way you can handle conflict. Another one is also compromising. Compromising is balancing the demands of the conflict parties and bargaining in a give and take position to reach a solution. Okay, so compromise is that I'll lose something to gain something. You also lose something to gain something. So, assuming, for example, I work, I don't work on Friday because I'm an Adventist, so 6 o'clock I've closed, and I don't work on a Saturday. In compromising, I can also say that when it's Sunday, because I did not come on Saturday, I'll work on Sunday, and Monday when we come, I'll do a full time so that Friday evening and Saturday, I can also get time to go to church. Okay, what I'm now doing is called compromising. I'm balancing the demands of the conflicting parties and bargaining in a give and take position to reach a solution. All right. Another one is also called forcing or competition or competitive. If somebody is being competitive in conflict, the simplest conceivable resolution is the elimination of the other party to force opponents to flee and give up the fight. Okay, so for example, the football games we watch is competition. One will lose, one should have win. So competition is more win lose. Okay, so in the pharmacy, this is very dangerous for you to use, by the way, where you want to fight your boss or you want to fight another colleague and you are saying that if the person have not left this shop, I'll never stop this. So free happen, I mean, and that. That's competition. And that can be very disastrous. You destroy relationship beyond repair, all right, where you want to win and the other party to lose. So competition can be very dangerous to use in the pharmacy. And the last one is problem solving or collaboration. Okay, problem solving or collaboration. And here we confront the conflict, okay, in order to seek the best solution to the problem. So the two parties will all sit down and say, what should we do to solve this problem? All right. So in conflict management, we can use any of these five strategies. But as I'm saying, please and please and please know when to use any of these strategies. Okay. You should be able to apply it. For example, there are days that there should be flexibility in your shift. You can decide to compromise. There are days that the problem that the person has gotten, that is his attitude. Whatever we say, the person is not changing. So we can decide to accommodate. There are some things that are trivial, okay, in quotes, in colasem. You can decide to avoid it, ignore it, okay. You don't even raise any issue out of it. So whichever scenario you are faced with, please use the correct strategy in handling it. And once you're able to use this correct strategy, it helps the pharmacy to grow. Now, as I said, let's look at this strategy. So we have is just like what we talked about. We have um, cooperativeness, okay, and assertiveness. Cooperativeness is where there's conflict and you are looking at cooperating, okay, or concern for the second person who you are disagreeing with. Assertiveness is concern for yourself. Okay, so when you're using avoidance, okay, or avoiding the person, concern for others is low, concern for yourself is low because you say that your emotions are not important, the other person's emotions are not important, so you not even handle the conflict. And let me say, if what the person have done is really hurting you, you cannot use avoidance because it will make you even worse. We can also decide to use another one called accommodating. In accommodating, you concern for the other person is very high. Okay, so there's high concern because as the person is like our parents and our siblings, no matter how bad your parent or your sister or your brother is, we want to accommodate them. Okay, so our concern for them is high, but ourselves, even though they are always hurting us, we don't mind. Okay, so concern for ourselves is low. So we say the assertiveness is very low. Then there's collaboration. In collaboration, concern for others is high, concern for yourself too is very high. And that's why normally we say collaboration is very, very good. Okay, it's very, very good. Then we have the competition. Okay, competition is where concern for others is low and concern for yourself is high, and that's why you say it's a win lose. You want to win, the other person should lose. So it's a tough battler. Okay, one person is going home, and you're saying it's not going to be you. Then you have the compromising of what we call the smoothing. Okay, the compromising or the smoothing, where it balances all. Then you can see why it's in middle. You compromise so that the other person can have their way. All right. Let's look at some steps in managing conflict. Now, the first step is always to define what the conflict is. It's important we define what the conflict is. Anytime there's a disagreement, let's find why the disagreement is there. If you don't define the conflict and you want to solve it, it will never be solved. Okay. So find why Mr. Bequin is disagreeing with me. What really is the matter? Say, get the truth out of it. Okay. Every person involved should also be open and honest. Tell her the truth. Open means that you give information. Honest means that the information you're giving is the truth. You are not lying. Maybe I like a lady, okay, and I'm always fighting with her. And I've been called I'm saying, why is that always when Amma comes, it's like whatever she does, you are not pleased with it. If I lie, if I'm not honest and open, I'll say, oh, because she's not good, she doesn't do it. But if I say, oh, Charlie, it's because I like her. That is why she doesn't like me. So normally I'm hurt. That's why I'm behaving like that. The conflict can be solved easily. Than me lying to say that no, I don't like her because she doesn't know how to work. Okay. So every person involved in such a conflict should be open, honest, with no intimidation. Okay. You don't scare anyone. You don't tell them that I'll fire you. No, if there's intimidation, you cannot solve conflict. And the person should be allowed to express their needs or goals confidently and comfortably with no threats. Emotions should also be controlled because sometimes when there's conflict, people are angry and shouting and cursing. Okay. When the other person is speaking, the other one should avoid negative communication. Okay, like the other person is speaking, you are looking away, or you are relaxed in your chair, or you are chuckling. Okay, that is negative communication. You do that to provoke and also to push them to act in a negative way. Okay, where this is not possible, and you can see that when the two people come, okay, there's always fight. We ask the other person to exclude him or herself. Then we get a third person called a mediator, okay, to link between the two of us because one person is always giving a negative attitude. The second step is to analyze the conflict. After the person has told you the story and you have been able to define the conflict, okay, you should use to analyze. And in analyzing conflict, there are two dimensions to it. The first one is the issue, the second one is the emotion. The issue has to do with the source of the conflict. Okay, what is the conflict about? So the conflict simply is about the fact that Mr. Bequin served a wrong prescription and Ajua was not happy, and that has caused a conflict. So we should look at the source of the conflict. How did it happen? Then we also look at the second part of the conflict that a lot of people are quiet. It's called the emotion. How do the two sides feel about the conflict? Okay, some people feel hurt and bitter that because of the conflict, the person has insulted him or her. Okay, so take actions to deal with both emotions effectively. If any of them is hurt, Let's first start with the emotion. Okay, if they are angry, let's ask them to calm down. If they are frustrated, assure them. If they are confused and hurt and discouraged and bitter and resentful and worrying and want to curse, please let's handle that one first before the issue. Tackle the emotions first. Let the person be calm and in a good sense before we start to handle it. You should also be able to, when you're handling the issue, identify your own emotion. Okay, that is if you are going, be frank and open and honest. If you are hurt, say that, Mr. Okay, what you did really hurts me, and I'm in deep pain. Okay, now listen for the emotions of the other person too. Okay, after you've said that you are hurt, you're going to sweetheart, me too, I'm really hurt about what you said. Even though what I did was wrong, the way you handled the case, I also hurt. Okay, so you identify your own emotion, listen to the other person's emotion, allow appropriate time for emotions to be expressed, and separate emotions from the issue. Sometimes we have an issue mixing it up with the emotion. It's difficult for us to, because of the fact that I'm angry and there is an issue. Okay, it's difficult for you to solve the issue if I'm still angry. All right, so we should always be able to separate emotions from the issue. For example, if you work in a pharmacy and your boss says something, you serve a wrong prescription and say, ah, you are stupid. Didn't you see that this prescription was wrong? Now it has gotten to, the emotion is that you'll be hurt that your boss have insulted you. The issue is that you served the wrong prescription that could have killed the patient. All right, so we separate that. So when we are solving, your boss may apologize for using the wrong word and insulting your intelligence. However, the issue is that next time be careful because you served the wrong prescription. Now the third stage is problem solving. And in problem solving, after we have gone through, we now summarize the problem. Oh, I think the problem between the two of you is that you don't like this person because you think that he's not qualified. He brought SSC to the school and you are an MC. You go to an MC school, you have been trained and have the performance council exam. Isn't it also? The person say yes, that is the so I think that should be the supervisor. He has not been to an MC school, just an SSO that he can be the supervisor. We have been able to summarize the problem. Then after we have done that, we set for mutually accepted solution. So you say that okay, you want to be the supervisor, but you see this ABCD. Okay, this is the reason why, because he, even though he has not been to an MCA school, he's having a degree in management. So we think he'll be a better manager. Even though you're an MCA, you're also good. Okay, you are good in dispensing, but not in management issue. So search for acceptable solution. And after you have gotten the solution, we evaluate the possibility. What ifs? Can there be other things we can do to make sure that we can solve the conflict? If there are, then the two people that are disagreeing with themselves should sit down and decide together that okay, we have decided that going forward, when it comes to prescriptions, I will serve. When it comes to management, you do. Once we do that, we have decided together that this is the solution to end the disagreement between the two of us. After the deciding together, the first step is whatever solution that we have said we'll do. Okay, when we come to work, I'll do A, you to do B. That solution should be implemented. If we don't implement, we have not solved the conflict. Okay, so it should be implemented, and after implemented, we should evaluate to see that whatever we have said and implemented, is it giving results? Is the farmers now growing? Are there no more conflict? Okay, if it is true, then the process that we use is very good. But if we are finished solving the problem and still these two people are always fighting, then we have to come back to the first step, define the problem, because it means that the first definition of the problem has been very wrong. Now, this thing that we are learning can be used not only in the pharmacy, for friendship, for your marriages, for counseling. Anytime people bring conflict issues, define the problem. After defining the problem, find the issue and find the emotion. One may be hurt that her husband has cheated on her. She's hurt. Okay, so talk about that. Then the issue will come that she denies the husband sex, and that's why the husband possibly cheated on her. That's the issue. Okay, so once you are able to find the issue and the problem or the emotion, you can now be able to work on conflict management. All right. So we have done a short lesson on conflict management. We now know what is conflict, and I said conflict is misunderstanding or disagreement between two people or where there are incompatibilities of ideas. We know what can cause conflict, fear, scarce resources. We know how to classify conflict into three main types: the individual conflict, the organizational conflict, and the inter-organizational conflict. We know the wrong approach to managing conflicts that we should not do. Okay, if you disagree with what your boss have said, you go to your boss and say, "Sir, I'm not happy with what you told me." All right, don't pack your bag and say, "I've resigned. I'm not working in this company again." It's wrong. Okay, so we know the correct way of managing conflict and the strategies, the 5 strategies we talked about to choose the appropriate strategy to use, and also go through the steps in resolving conflicts. All right. So I'll end the lesson here. I wish you all go through. After you are done, please send me a mail. All right. Friday, God willing, I'll do another topic, and that is going to be customer service. After we have done with our customer service lesson, okay, we would end everything at the module 2. When you finish our customer service, we add psychology. But after Friday's lecture on customer service, on Monday we do another quiz, and I'll combine conflict management and customer service as one quiz. All right. So thank you all for being such a wonderful audience, and I wish you all the best. After this lesson, I'll open the platform, um, possibly on Saturday. Okay, if you have any questions on conflict, then you can ask. All right. So stay tuned and let's all be good. Okay, let's take care of ourselves. Till we meet again. Bye bye.